Thank you for tuning in to the Healed Girl Era podcast with me, your host, T. I want to welcome you to a space where we encourage open and realistic conversations about the process of healing. This podcast aims to evoke a fresh perspective that opens the door to embracing growth and acceptance. I want you to feel safe enough to let go of the traumas of your past, embrace the newness of the day. Join us as we explore the journey of healing and self-discovery. If you've not done so, consider following me on social media at MsLadyTee _ on Instagram and TikTok, and subscribe to my YouTube page. Now go ahead and listen to the newest episode of the Healed Girl Era podcast. Welcome in. I am so excited for the second season of the Healed Girl Era podcast. We have gone through a whole lot of changes since we last talked. And if you've stuck with me through this short hiatus, I am extremely grateful. During the time that I was away, I have been restructuring and rebranding the show. We were previously known as the Healing Over Everything podcast, and I have officially now changed the title, and we are known as the Healed Girl Era podcast. I've been super busy, and I've had a lot of major life changes, and maybe we'll chat about that in the future. But I am back, and I'm refreshed, and I'm ready to start bringing you weekly shows. And this time around, for season 2, we're doing it as a series. And we're going to start with the topic of mastering happy. Now, I don't want you to get it misconstrued. I'm not saying in any way that I have mastered happiness, but I have decided to be intentional with my pursuit of the emotion. So, throughout my healing journey, I've had several instances where the topic of happiness has come up for me. And the most recent one was in 2023. I don't remember the month, but while I was home visiting my family, my grandson, who was 4 at the time, he actually asked me a question. And I thought it was an odd question for a 4-year-old to ask, but randomly, he looked at me in my eyes and he said, Yaya, are you happy? And without hesitation, I didn't even really think about it. I said, no, baby. And that really sent me into some deep reflection about the state of my life and where I was in that moment. And I really vowed to myself that I would create a space and live in happiness, regardless of what was going on in my life from that time forward. So I started to really survey my life and ask myself some questions to determine that got me really to this space of making this series, Mastering Happy. I'm 48 years old, right? And I figured at this age, I deserve to be intentional with my happiness and my pursuit of it. So what I had to do was really define happiness for myself. So before I could even really wrap my mind around the concept of happiness, I had to really deconstruct the term, right? As a Pisces, I often tend to romanticize things, right? So I had to get clear on my own personal definition of the term. I found that unconsciously that, like other people, a lot of other people, that my happiness was wrapped up in other people and other things, right? In intangible things, like my spouse, my children, my job, if I drove a nice car. And I didn't want my emotions to be controlled by people and things, right? I didn't want that for myself. And also didn't want that if those people and those things, or mostly those people, really let me down or my relationship turned sour, that it would jeopardize me from losing my happiness, right? It would put me in a space that I now was depressed and despondent. And I didn't want that for myself. So one of the things that I realized also was that I was kind of living vicariously through other people's happiness. And I was masking that as empathy. I had convinced myself that it was okay to just see other people and their experiences, right? And that was okay. And I didn't want to continue to live that way. I didn't want to have a third party view of happiness. I wanted it for myself. So I'm not saying that I've not experienced happiness in my life. I don't want you to be like, oh, poor T, she's never been happy. I've had multiple experiences where I've been happy, right? Like most people, the birth of my children, walking down the aisle, my marriage. I've had a lot of moments where my life was filled with happiness. But after going through, death and divorce and loss of career and disappointments and all of the things, I had found myself, or I had found really that I had lost my ability to find happiness in my daily life. And I am now making the commitment to myself to create a space of contentment and seek joy in every moment of my being, right? I'm not going to let the things that I've gone through to really steal the emotion of happiness for me. So throughout the series, we're going to discuss some of the ways that I'm striving to do that. And hopefully, I'm going to bring you some insight, and we're going to also hopefully bring you along, and we can do it together. So today, to start the series, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was the law of gratitude and how important that is to your pursuit of happiness and living in that space and, just being intentional. So the law of gratitude says that once we express gratitude, that our vibration and our frequency is automatically and instantly switched to a positive vibration, right? So we need to recognize that being grateful for the positive aspects already present in our lives is critical to the pursuit of happiness, right? If you think about, being appreciative and giving thanks, when you do that, you tend to be more, you really do tend to, be more happy if you think about it. There's a saying that says that being happy won't always make you grateful, but being grateful will always make you happy. In order for us to begin to walk in gratitude, I think one of the things that we have to do, that it is pertinent to the pursuit of happiness, is to be present. And we've talked about this briefly in other shows, but I don't believe that you can be grateful for what you aren't allowing yourself to experience, right? When you walk outside and it's been 90 degrees, like in the state of Tennessee, for multiple weeks, week after week after week is 90 degrees. And then you walk outside and you feel like a cool, crisp breeze on your cheeks. Why not say thank you? Right? And the only way that you can do that is if you allow yourself to be present in that moment. A lot of times what we do, we're kind of robotic in the way that we kind of go about life. And instead, we miss opportunities to really be grateful because we're not present. So, in that same scenario, if you walk outside and you just, get in your car and go about your day, you miss that opportunity to feel that breeze on your face, right? You miss that opportunity to say, oh, God, thank you for the breeze. Thank you for the coolness of the day. It's been so hot outside. We miss that opportunity to show great gratitude. And if we would have taken a moment and been present in that moment, we could have allowed ourselves to feel the joy of the moment. And joy is a cousin to happiness, if not a sister, right? So I think being present is super important to the law of gratitude. I think also that there's a kind of a purity that comes with being grateful. When you have a pure heart, you look at things in a different way. And you can express that gratitude to God and to other people, right? It's not always, Lord, thank you for this, thank you for that. Also, you're showing gratitude to other people. I'm always, and I say always, but I try my best to, when people are kind to me, Lord, thank you for that. Thank you that they told me I looked pretty today. Thank you that they were kind with their words. Thank you that they, whatever the case may be, and that puts me in a more positive state of mind. I work a second job, and I deal with the public. I do customer service. And when people are kind to me, I get tips often because I try to always show kindness. But when people in return show kindness to me, I always take a minute and take a beat and say, Lord, thank you for that. Thank you for that person. Thank you that they acknowledge me in that moment. Thank you that they show gratitude to me for the way that I treated them. And I'm present in that moment, and I allow myself. And that boosts me up. That makes me feel good, which contributes to my happiness of that moment. And life is about moments, right? Life is about moments. And we have to make sure that we're present so that we don't potentially miss the opportunity to live in gratitude, which pushes us to the place of happiness and joy. So one of the things also that I came to know, and one of the things that I started to do, was after losing my son, right? I found that I was kind of losing myself and allowing grief to consume me, right? And I then started to, instead of allowing grief to consume me, to replace that with gratitude. It wasn't the woe is me, and I wasn't focusing on the time that I lost with my son, right? I didn't get, he didn't get to give me a grandchild, or, we didn't get to do this and we didn't get to do that. I wasn't allowing that grief to consume me. Instead, I decided to let my memories give me the opportunity to say thank you, right? Lord, thank you for the opportunities that we had to have long conversations. I'm so grateful that we were able to go on that vacation, and we were able to walk in the park, and we were able to watch that movie, and we were able to laugh together and play cards, whatever, how big or small, that those memories, as they would come to my mind, instead of me being like, oh, I miss my baby, which I do, instead of crying, I was able to then flip that and allow those memories to make me smile and laugh and really remember and reflect, but to be grateful for the opportunities. And thinking about all of the good times that we had. And it helped to lift my despair surrounding his death. So I was able to change the trajectory of my life, really. Because if I would have allowed that grief to consume me, it would have took me on a downward spiral for the duration of my life. And I wouldn't have been where I am now, right? Talking to you guys and really, putting myself in a place where I can master happiness and I can live there, and it could be my permanent residence, right? So, excuse me, look at your life now. Just look at where you are right now and think about maybe what areas you can increase your expression of gratitude to God, or to the universe, or to other people. How can you show up and be present in your daily routine and look at the moments that you experience and say thank you? By making that type of change, you can actually contribute to your happiness. You can change your mood. You can change your level of optimism surrounding your life, really, right? You can change the way that you respond to experiences. If you do this intentionally, with intention, you can smile more, laugh more, raise your frequency, right? Put yourself in a more positive state of being. I gave myself permission to enjoy the moments of my life. And one of the things that I also had to learn, and I learned this years ago, is stop focusing on what comes next, right? We so worried about and concerned about what we're going to do next, right? I'm not concerned about what I'm doing next. I'm living in the now, and I'm being present in the moment. I'm not worried about how others react and how they feel about a situation, so much so that it's going to contribute or sway me in the way that I feel about it. I'm letting excitement in. I believe that we talked in previous shows, and I'll let you guys in on a little bit of my family dynamic growing up and how I was raised, and we didn't really show a lot of emotion growing up, right? So for many, many years, I didn't even know how to convey excitement. And if I'm being honest, I still kind of struggle with that, but I want to be better, right? I want the times when I'm experiencing breathtaking moments to allow myself to feel the emotions and be able to express them. I didn't know how to do that. And I'm actually doing that. It's causing me it's releasing me from the lie that I've always told myself that I'm just an unemotional person. And that's not true. I was just never given I was never given permission. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know what it looked like. How do you show emotion? We were just very dry as a family, but I am. I want to show emotion. I want to feel the feels. I want to be excited about something. And not just be excited on the inside, but really show an outward expression of excitement. And I'm learning to do that because I want to. You know, I see other people sometimes and I'm like, the way that I used to respond to that, they doing too much. They doing too much. Why they all jumping around? And and the reason that I responded that way was because I was a little bit jealous because I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to have that outward expression of excitement. So my way of dealing with that was to say, God, they doing too much. But in my heart, I'm like, dang, they look like they really are enjoying themselves. And I want to feel that emotion. I want to be able to show excitement. And that's one of the things that I'm in pursuit of. I'm going to live every day like it's my last. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to laugh more. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to smile more. I'm going to be gracious to other people. I'm going to say thank you. And I'm going to say, you look beautiful today. I'm going to put positivity in the world. And I'm going to tell people how wonderful they are and affirm them because I want to uplift. And while I'm uplifting others, I'm internally uplifting myself too. I'm so serious about this happiness thing. And I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it right. And we're going to do it until I see all of the things come to fruition. That I'm able to show excitement and joy. And that's one thing that we're going to talk about in this series. When I think about joy, The word joy. Now, that's one of the things that I don't know if I've ever experienced joy. Like, to me, joy is like, and I know joy, if you break it down and really dissect the definition, that it's moments. But I want to experience joy, to be joyful. I don't know that I've ever experienced joy. So I'm going to have to really kind of, look at my life over, the years. And that's one thing I don't know. But I'm going to get there. By hook or by crook, as old people used to say. I'm going to get there, because I'm telling you, my life, I'm creating the life that I want. And I know that things are going to come up, and it's going to test my happiness and my joy and my peace and all of that. I know that, around the corner is that bear. But I'm not going to let that bear deter me from smiling and laughing and experiencing and pursuing joy and pursuing happiness and showing, gratitude and all of the things. Right? I'm not going to let what I've experienced in my past steal the happiness and the joy of my present and my future. And I feel like that's why I responded the way that I responded to my grandson when he asked me if I was happy. And I said no. Immediately I said no, without thought. And that made me sad in my heart, because why am I not happy? I've experienced so many moments of happiness. But at that moment when he asked me that, I was not. And I wasn't going to lie to my grandbaby. So then I had to figure out, okay, you're not happy today. We're going to change that so that your tomorrow and your day after that and your day after that you live in the space of happiness. And that's where I am right now. And instead of allowing the emotions and all of the things that have hindered me in my past, I'm going to let go of those things. And I'm going to live in my healed girl era. And I hope you'll come along with me on the journey. So today we're going to end the show, as always, with an affirmation. And that affirmation is that I choose to hold happiness in my heart and in my mind daily. Thank you for tuning in to the Healed Girl Era podcast. I am your host, T, and we'll talk soon.